And welcome. It's that time of the year again. Christmas, festive season, end of the year. And as you get excited to travel and organize your parties and everything, unfortunately, not everybody is law-abiding. So there are other guys who are also planning their festive season. And in fact, their festive season is actually in your jurisdiction, in your house. And then you're on the road. There are people who have drunk and are driving. And then it just makes you wonder, why is it that it seems to all happen in December near Christmas? And most importantly, how do we guard against it? Because, of course, if it is a menace, then there's a guard against it. And that's what we're doing today. Your safety before, during, and after Christmas. And as soon as I come back, I will introduce my guest. My name is Nana Ansakwa, and this is PM Express.
The Director General of Operations at the Ghana Police Service, COP John Kudalo, made clear the police administration will continue to protect lives and properties of Ghanaians.
Our ultimate aim is proactive policing to prevent and deter crime occurrences and arrest the perpetrators if it occurs. Police cannot do this alone without the involvement of the public.
COP Kudalo stated patrols will also be intensified during the period. The police administration will deploy personnel to marketplaces and the central business district to ensure the safety of shoppers. In its efforts to ensure an accident-free Yuletide, the Police Motor Traffic and Transport Department will also undertake patrols on national highways.
Hello, and the topic is your safety before, during, and after Christmas. And getting to the end of the year, we need to take extra caution. Maybe this education shouldn't only be towards the end of the year, it should be year-round. However, we are at the end of the year, so who's better late than never. But I'll introduce my guest to help me discuss this issue. From my extreme left is Etonam Koda, who's a corporate affairs manager for Bureau of Public Safety. Etonam, welcome. And then to my immediate left is DSP Samuel Sasumensa, staff officer to the Director General? Yes, Director General of MTTD, which is the Motor Traffic and Transport Division, Ghana Police Service. Thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
I think you got more statistics because I see more graphs in your book. But I want to find out, why is it that crime levels, I can understand motor traffic, accidents going up because people are traveling, but in terms of crime like burglary and stuff, why does it also go up? Aren't they happy to go and spend Christmas and,
Thank you once again. Unfortunately, per statistics, we are made to understand that crime, during these festive seasons, keeps dropping per the statistics.
Okay.
Yes. It doesn't mean that robbers or evildoers are not on the run. They are also planning to do so many stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think the people in charge, the police and other essential personnel, are being up to the task to handle these people. So in terms of records, it's on the decline.
So when it comes to
during this festive season,
it goes down.
But it doesn't mean it is even more dangerous because if the public gets to know, or we all know that this is the situation, we all get to relax, and then we don't take precautionary measures. That is why it is more dangerous.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. And then I come to DSP. These like the urban drivers. They are almost a law unto themselves. What can we do collectively? You see, the reason why I say is that the 15 passengers in the car, if you dare tell the driver to slow down, the 14 will kick you out. That let him drive because we are late. So how do we help you or ourselves to stop such a menace?
The issue basically is about indiscipline on our routes. Mm-hmm. The issue has to do with about attitudinal problems. And the real issue is about safety. Mm-hmm. Safety consciousness within Ghanaian is really not a critical issue. We don't value our safety. In situations like this, before, during, and after Christmas, the critical issue is that road traffic crashes and road traffic accidents is always on the upsurge. Mm-hmm. Why is it like that? The issue is that people commute to the central business districts within major towns and cities. People flout traffic rules and regulations with impunity. Mm-hmm. The clear issue is that we don't really know whether the people know the traffic rules and regulations or whether they actually know it, but they have decided to actually infract on traffic rules and regulations. We have done series of programs preceding this Christmas. We have done education, creating the awareness as well as heightening the awareness. Mm-hmm. But it seems, as the statistics shows, that it is during this Christmas, it is really paying off. Indications are that really the accident rates, as at now, during this December, is reducing by 10%. And we hope and pray that at the end of the day, during the end of the month, the rate gradually drops. And because of that is it. We pray that at the end of the month, the rate as compared to the 2012 figure will relatively drop.
We'll see how that's going to pan out, because the number of road deaths in this country, I think it's bordering on genocide. If you ask me, it's unexplainable. The number of cars we have compared to citizenship and the amount of people who die, over 16,000, 17,000 road accidents in a year, is too much. We'll see how we can reduce that. Stay tuned. Well, just before we went on the break, we're looking at road accidents and some of the numbers, almost 2,000 people just dying on the road. And in terms of road accidents, about 17,000, 16,000 within a year. I mean, these numbers are almost not realistic compared to, the number of cars we have in the country. And since the man himself is here, I mean, we need to do something really. It's almost a small revolution in road traffic monitoring.
Yes. We have done education, but obviously what we think is that we should back education with religious and rigorous enforcement. Mm-hmm. And that is what we are going to do. We have started during this Christmas Yuletide. You will recall that a few weeks ago, the police launched the Operation Father Christmas. Mm-hmm. It is an all-encompassing contingency plan nationwide to make sure that the crime rates during this Christmas reduce. It is also geared towards making sure that accident rates also is downsized. So we have planned a whole lot of methodologies and strategies which is working and which we hope it will work to make sure that at the end of the day, before, during and after Christmas and getting to the New Year's, crime rates will reduce, traffic accidents or crash rates will also reduce. So yes, the strategies are watertight.
Yes, you say watertight. I don't have my phone here. I have two recordings, right? I've forgotten the numbers. All GPs. One is a motorbike, one is a pickup, right? And they are all undertaking on the N1 because there's a pure water car in the fast lane. And instead of them flashing that, move to the slow lane, they wait for the car in the middle to go, then they undertake and also go. I have the recording because I just thought, so most of your guys themselves, are struggling with the road rules. And these are guys on motorbike, so they should be A1 on traffic regulation.
Basically, there might be a problem where I'm not trying to defend them. But certainly, if they are called to duty, they are supposed to drive and drive professionally, so that
I'm not talking about that there's an emergency. We are all driving in traffic, but there's a truck in the fast lane, so we all undertake, because what else can you do?
Yes, the policeman obviously.
But you have to alert them.
Alert the
So I think that's where the education has to.
But obviously, the issue is that we have a specialized department, that is the Motor Traffic and Transport Department. The personnel are supposed to know better, and they are supposed to enforce traffic rules and regulations to the letter.
And they are breaking it too much, but I'll come back to you. Safety consultant, what can we do?
See, the indiscipline is an ascendancy. I apply the motorway a lot, and there's something I realized after consistently monitoring what was happening. Like you were saying, you see these big trucks on the fast lane, and then even this afternoon I was coming, you see cars bypassing the cars on the fast lane, and then we'll be signaling them, move to this lane, move to that lane. And I realized something: the roads, you realize the motor on the right side, moving from Tema to Accra, is very bad. Mm-hmm. So people try to avoid.
Stay on the right.
Exactly.
The slow lane, yeah.
That's one factor, aside the indiscipline. Another factor too is that, people just ignore these road signs. Okay, now, where we find our police on the road, when they are supposed to check us, they ignore, in most cases. Okay, that has been something I have really detested, or is something I keep questioning. Why this? Why is this thing happening? Because it's like, it happens today, happens tomorrow, nobody cautions them, so we are all in it, and it's something consistently you find them doing it consistently.
I would like to disagree with you. The key issue is that the police cannot be on all routes and on all highways in Ghana. The issue is about you, the issue is about me. We are saying that road safety is a collective and shared responsibility. So you have a responsibility, you also have a responsibility. Mm-hmm. When we can combine the forces, then it will work. But here is a case where drivers and the general motoring public, instead of them also adhering to their rules and responsibility, they have blatantly refused. So it is a national canker
because
that we have to deal with.
Because there's no consequence.
And what we are doing is that right now we are putting more policemen on the roads. As you can see during this Christmas, the police is visible, the police is accessible, and their key role is to make sure that people abide by the set rules and regulations. So they are doing their key job. But the issue here is that the police cannot be everywhere dense on our various routes. So the general motoring public has a responsibility to also respect the rules and regulations. And together, when we do that, the roads will be safe and the accident rates will obviously drop.
You see, Nana, we are not saying the police are not doing their bit. They are. But, you see, we need to construct, criticize in a way that they also need to understand that there are specific areas that they need to up. You understand? Like I said, of course, I don't expect the police to be on the highway and be stopping cars. That they will create a lot of traffic. But in situations where we have busy access roads, where we have police, they are visible. We are seeing them all around. But even this Yuletide, like we see them around directing traffic. But when you find offenders or people offending the law, either they are not seen or they are not apprehended, because the basic responsibility we are made to understand is that they are directing traffic. You understand? So yes, they are visible. We are seeing them all around, but probably they need to also add up that responsibility. Aside the directing of traffic, we need to know, or they need to also check, because, for instance, get to some busy roads like this, they are doing their best to make sure that we have free flow. But what of those who are trying to bypass their unapproved routes? You get it? Mm-hmm. They are not seen, so they cause more traffic. The police are they are bombarded with a lot of tax, and they feel that probably their cars they are becoming more and more, so we need to direct traffic just to ease it. But the issue is, if we are supposed to use this lane, everybody follows that lane. You understand? So it's just not about visibility. I know they are doing their best, but it's just not about visibility. It's about, if we are directing traffic, there are other offending commuters or drivers that are not adhering to safety or safety rules in terms of transportation. What are we doing to those drivers?
Sorry.
What are we doing to those drivers? The issue is that, aside those people who are basically managing traffic, there are others who are in patrol vehicles who arrest daily. The returns that are coming, there are more drivers that have been arrested. There are more drivers that have been prosecuted. And the returns that are coming as a result of court fines is very, very huge. So maybe you might find one or two people going scot-free. But at the end of the day, in critical times, in critical situations, some of them are arrested.
Let me help it on that.
Okay.
You see, I use the Fiesta Royal towards the Mall Road. So during rush hour, law abiding, so you stay in the traffic. I don't even want to change lanes because, I just want to stay, this is my lane. So even if it's slow, I don't care. Yeah. I'll stay in there to move. And so you stay in there, and obviously as you get to the mall, it doesn't move anymore. And everybody's on the verge, the hard shoulder, the verge, on the grass. And then you drive there, and the pickup is there with the red and blue lights and the tent. And it's very painful that none of them have been stopped or arrested, and you're thinking, well, I should have followed them because they are the wise persons.
No. The issue is that we are talking about our visibility patrol teams. The issue is that there is a new orientation during this Christmas. Mm-hmm. And the new dimensions are that they are supposed to enforce traffic rules and regulations. They are supposed to direct traffic. And indeed,
the previous mandate didn't include that.
I would not say so, but right now the new orientation is that they are enforcing traffic rules and regulations, and they are also managing traffic. And they are also supposed to arrest recalcitrant drivers who flout traffic rules and regulations with impunity. So, day in, day out, as you go by, you will now see them arresting, you will now see them calling people with their mobile phones or radioing for a reinforcement or the patrol teams to come and obviously arrest drivers who flout rules and regulations. So there's a new hope. And basically I think that they are going to do their work for which they are taxed.
Operation Father Christmas, does it include undercover policing?
Operation Father Christmas, as I said previously, is an all-encompassing police contingency plan. The objective is to make sure that crime and traffic rates comes down. So obviously we do some undercover investigation to make sure that we nip criminals in the bud. So it definitely includes undercover operations, and that one is led for the Criminal Investigations Department.
Let's leave the roads and then come to instead of protecting property, houses and shops and stuff like that. What are we supposed to do this Christmas?
This Christmas, like you said, there are so many avenues or things that we are going to do because it's Christmas. We are going to celebrate, have fun and stuff like that. If you are not careful, certain personal things that probably you used to do, you might leave it and then you have the wrongdoers taking over. For instance, if you are traveling outside, you are leaving your home, you're going to spend a holiday somewhere. There are certain things, basic things that you need to do. You just inform your neighbor, your close by neighbor, that probably you are going this place, you are going here. So from time to time, he or she comes to check up at your place, who is there, because if you don't inform and you leave, probably he or she might think you are around. Mm-hmm. Any person gets in, you might think, oh, that's my neighbor. So the best advice you give to the public is that just inform your neighbor, okay, I'm going to this place, there's nobody at home, or there's this person at home. So from time to time, just keep checking. Mm-hmm. One thing we also advise against is try to publicize where we are going on the social media. Okay, I'm going to have fun here, so everybody gets to know of it. So, and it's not everybody reading it that has good intentions. So at least now, because you publicize it on the social media, the evildoers know, or those who probably want to cause mayhem know that this person is here. So now either that you are the target, sorry, or your household is the target. Then you'll know how to plan. So we always advise against, doing those things so that you don't publicize your wherever you are, your venue, or wherever you are going on the social media. You tell your neighbor to watch over you when you're not around.
I'm sure DSP wants to add to that.
Yeah, aside that, I think the Christmas also has a lot of implications for businesses. During the period, maybe from 24th to 31st, you see that most of the stores are commercial areas. There are no people to man those shops, and you see that security is generally very, very low. So I think that shop owners, businessmen, must gradually check the security situations in their shops and in their various companies. The way they lock their apartments, their offices, the keys where they are deposited, they should make sure that they make stringent efforts to make sure that their premises are very, very safe. And occasionally, they can come back to their premises during the Christmas Yuletide to come and inspect whether things are going well or not.
I see. Did you want to add to that?
Yeah, we want to. There's one thing I also need to point out: drunk driving. During this Yuletide, we do a lot of drinking and driving a lot, and we always advise that, especially, it's very difficult, to kind of prevent people from probably drinking, because we are in a group. But for instance, when you're in a group and you have a friend and you realize that he or she is drunk, we advise that either you drive the person home yourself, or probably let the person park his car and get him or her a cab, or better still, let him or her spend the night at your place, rather than just letting him drive on his own. Is something we don't, or we as a bureau will not encourage.
With the issue of drunk driving, we have a strategy for it. And the issue is that we are going to map out the various social areas.
Okay.
And visibility and patrol teams will constantly patrol the areas. They will be equipped with breathalyzers. And every driver at the various entertainment spots, every driver who drives the vehicles will be randomly checked.
Okay.
If you are found to be driving above the limit, obviously you'll be arrested and prosecuted. This is a strategy that we have adopted, and we are sure it's going to work. Drunk drivers should be on the lookout.
What's our legal limit?
It's 0.0 grams per deciliter cube.
Which is 2 thoughts, 3 thoughts?
It cannot be, even if it's 2 thoughts. The issue is that if you drink, don't drive. If you drive, don't drink. So basically, that is the issue. If you drink, don't drive. If you drive, don't drink.
Maybe just a little sip.
Maybe it might be over the bar.
The sip might be over the bar.
Yes.
So just stay clear of it.
The issue is they are stay clear of it. If you drink, don't drive.
It's a good initiative. Yeah. If you go ahead and do that, it's really, really, really good.
Certainly, we are going to do it.
And while we are back on the road, again, the N1 comes into question. You pass, as you're getting towards the Achimota Tesano bypass, on the right is now car park for long vehicles. As you're coming into, and I'm sure you've noticed it. And then 50 meters is yours truly the visibility police. Just as you're going to turn and use to come back into Tesano, the visibility police is there, and the long vehicles have just parked. So every evening there's sort of traffic there, and then you're forced to come into people's lanes because they're parked there. And that's been happening for a while now.
Obviously, there's a strategy for us to deal with that issue.
DSP, as for this strategy there, I don't buy it. They've been parking there for quite a while now.
Certainly, we will task the Tesano commander tomorrow to take action on those vehicles that are.
I'm proud of
it. Yes, we will certainly take action on that issues, and you see the vehicles off the next time we drive there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy you touched on that because I also use that road a lot, and
we are going to work on
it's
that.
really becoming a nuisance.
We are going to make sure
honestly.
that.
Yeah, and it's dangerous because you see just after where they park, like you said, you branching towards
either to Achimota or campus. Yes,
exactly. You sometimes some cars, private cars that probably just pull over to drop alight people there. Entering the road becomes difficult because of visibility. Those big cars, the trucks. Okay, so I've observed and I realized that I initially I was wondering if they were authorized at all to park there because
they are not authorized.
It's just not right because of that branch, that little it's a highway.
You talked about weather and visibility. DSP, I mean, what can you talk to us about? Harmattan is coming. Obviously, our visibility is not as good as. Well, it's already here.
Yes, there are strategies to drive during such periods. This weather, bad weather conditions, and the issue is for you to be alert. And basically, you have to drop your speed to make sure that if you think that the weather is not clear, you cannot drive. It's pretty good to park your car and make sure that the weather situation improves before you drive. So it is better to wait than go ahead and crash your vehicle. You might suffer injury or damage to your vehicle, or probably you might also die.
Is there a different strategy? See, because now the general impression commercial drivers have is that you're working against each other. So even if you tell them to slow down, they think, oh no, it's Christmas, I need to go and come back. You know, the police are harassing us too much. Is there a different strategy that they will feel like, oh no, we are working in our interest? Because I think the previous strategy, they seem to rebel against it.
Well, what we are doing is that we are bringing them on board. Most of the drivers and their operators. Certainly, we have told them to do their own pre-checks on their various stations before they drive their vehicles to their various destinations. We have worked, we have talked to the executives, and it seems most of the stations have their own commuters. Most of the stations, they check ties. Most of the stations, they check drunk driving before their drivers set off. So the cooperation has been there, but the issue is that there have been some who are being labeled as recalcitrant, and they would not try to abide by the rules and regulations as specified. But generally, it is not like that. The core issue or the key issue is about safety. And in partnership with the National Road Safety Commission, the DVLA, we have a joint task force. We have been going to the various stations, creating and heightening awareness about road safety. And it seems to be catching up.
Okay. Did you want to add something to that?
Yeah. What I want to add is probably directed to the private drivers, not really the commercial. That in these times of Yuletide, we're going to have a lot of, like we've heard already, diversional roads here and there. It is advisable before you set off, you should have a plan. Where am I going? Am I going this way? Where am I passing? Because sometimes all these things, with the confusion on the roads, this ASAP, probably you are going, you don't know, you forgot, you want to pass this place and stuff like that. So you want to turn and then you cause a lot of traffic and those things. So we always advise that before you set off, just know where you are going, your destination. Where am I going? Where am I passing? And then my route. It's very, very important because then you should be familiar with the diversionary roads, because there are some roads that probably instead of 2-lane or one lane is now being turned into a 2-lane, so that you don't end up getting there and then you turn back and say, okay. So we always advise, and it's very important because we realize most people don't take those things into consideration, so they end up just setting off at any time. But the thing is that we need to understand, during this Yuletide, so many things have changed in terms of road transport. So you need to be abreast. Just get the road signs, your direction very carefully before you set off. And
I got a WhatsApp message from Safety Ghana about some new trick which they are doing now to rob cars. Stay tuned. When I come back, I'll tell you, and I'll get DSP to comment on that. So stay tuned. Okay, I promised to tell you what the new trick was, apparently. Now, what they're doing is I hear some bad guys are throwing eggs at windscreens of cars. Now, what happens is if you turn on your windscreen washer, when the water mixes with the egg, it becomes very milky, reducing your visibility by 92%. Literally, you only got 8% visibility left and you'll be forced to stop. So when the eggs hit your windscreen, don't stop. Just drive as fast as you can. Just don't stop and don't use the wipers either. And so remember that. DSP, I don't know if you've reported, if anybody's reported that sort of...
Certainly, as I sit here, I don't know of any reports.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay, but just watch out.
All
but
right.
before I go on, I just want to find out, I mean, we've heard of Operation Father Christmas, but what are the methods that...
Yes, as part of activities to achieve the objectives of the Operation Father Christmas, what we are doing is that we are building confidence in the men that are actually patrolling. Aside that, we are also strengthening both day and night patrols. Then we are also expanding foot and vehicular patrols to business and other important communities. Then again, we are providing adequate security for vital installations. Then when
what would that be?
The vital installations that we have in major towns and cities. Then we also intend to provide security to churches, conventions, and other social gathering and entertainment center. The core objective is to ensure visibility and accessibility. Then when it comes to traffic, we are ensuring the efficient and effective management in order to decongest traffic within major towns and cities. Then we intend also to provide security at lorry parks, stations, and bus terminals. Then again, the CID will also be conducting surveillance and intelligence gathering on the criminal activities. The aim is to ensure that law and order prevails during this Christmas.
So in this case, if, because I know like 31st December, I think Accra Sports Stadium, so will they have to come and say, look, I need the extra men, or you've already planned?
We have already planned. Those invitations have come, and we have not planned to deploy men or to deploy security officers during times where we are going to have the various conventions and churches. And normally the churches, they do come.
Okay.
They do come.
Back to vital installations. What do you think during Christmas they get vandalized or targeted?
Yes, they can be targets for some miscreants. So obviously what we are doing is that we are doing proactive policing, preventive strategies, so that at the end of the day, the offense or the crime will not occur.
I don't know if you're going through like a fire audit or safety audit in public institutions, because things like the National Theatre and stuff like that, you know, we will all be trooping there, and it's good to make sure that fire exit doors are working and stuff like that, even though I don't even know where the fire exit is. And I've been there quite a few times. So I'm also guilty.
There should be what we call the fire safety strategy. Okay, this fire safety strategy comprises mostly of 3 basic elements: the active fire safety measures, the passive ones, and the management. The active ones are the physical elements or features that we see, like what you said, the fire alarms, the exits, and stuff like that. The passive ones are what triggers in terms of emergencies. What will trigger it? You understand? Before the management entails you and I, or the occupant, all those who are going to occupy there. So the issue is that we have what we call a risk assessment. A risk assessment, we hardly do it. The building is there, it is ready for occupancy, so we all move in and we come out. But before you occupy or you allow people to occupy that building, what do we do? Do we do what we call risk assessment? Do we go around to check if all these things are working? There are some places that you see the fire alarms, we don't even check if they are working because probably the battery is dead. You understand? So we need to do all those things. Evacuation, emergency. Do we have an emergency response plan? You see, because do we even take a minute out of even the program just to educate all of them, the audience there, that this is an emergency also in case of emergencies? But I just feel like we don't take even a minute to even educate. So we need to have plans, because it's not all about the programs. In cases of that, we have lives in the building, and how do we protect all those lives? Emergency assembly point and stuff, even the way we park our cars. You get it? So we need to do all those risk assessment, and then we'll come up with a plan. That, okay, fine, this is what we need, this is what is working, this is what is not working. So then we get all those things in place before we start allowing people to patronize our facilities or these public facilities. And they are very important, but time and again we keep mentioning, but it's not being done, we are not checking them. So if you find that it's just like we are just showing them around, they are not working, but it needs to be working. So I think we should do this risk assessment and take these 3 elements into consideration.
Yes, I don't know if you want to comment to that, or because my next question to you was, what's the number one menace for you during this season? I mean, what's the real? Is it illegal parking, pickpockets? What's your number one menace? Now, you know that you wake up in the morning, oh, today they're going to bring me so many pickpockets, or today they're going to bring me so many car crashes. What's your number one menace?
The issue is about traffic crashes and indiscipline on our roads. That is the basic issue. Traffic crashes and indiscipline on the roads. But when you look at it, comparing traffic crashes and robberies, an accident or crash will occur, and at the end of the day, 10 people dying, 20 people dying, 30 people die. But even when the robberies occur, it doesn't take that numbers. So the challenge, the issue, the critical issue is about accident, indiscipline on the roads, and how, as a result, people are getting injured and people are dying every day. Of course, the National Road Safety Commission says that every day 5 people die as a result of traffic crashes. And the number is quite huge. Extend it to a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and a year. The numbers are quite gigantic.
I know. And again, I'm going back to your those who drive the Nissan ovens. I find them as the ones that drive and commercial cars.
Yes.
But the ovens. I mean, is there something that you can do to slow them down a bit?
What we are saying is that for a traffic accident to occur, it is an interface between the person who is driving the vehicle, that is the driver, the vehicle itself, and the environment. And the issue here is that we are saying that 97% of the accidents that are occurring are traceable to issues regarding driving behavior. That is the driver who is driving the vehicle.
97%.
Almost about 97%. Okay. So it means that what we have to do is that we have to adopt strategies in order to change the attitude and behavior of drivers. We have to adopt strategies such that drivers change their attitudes for the better. That seems to be the bane of road safety management. But
how are they getting the license? Because how do they get the license if they are not disciplined enough to be driving?
Obviously, the training and education and acquisition of driver's license is done by a separate agency. That is the DVLA, the Driver Vehicle and Licensing Authorities. And they obviously have challenges. But I'm sure that they are also putting in strategies to make sure that they tighten up the system. And they are doing it.
That's enough. There's so many other things on our roads, and sometimes we even break the laws legally, where we put certain signposts. Itself, creates hazards on our roads, and that's where the state or the environment or district has placed a sign there which distracts even drivers. So it's a whole collective thing that we need to do. I don't know.
Yeah. There's one typical example is on the NY Highway, just after the La Paz station.
Mm-hmm.
When you are in the outer lane, I think, before you want to, or if you want to enter into the main road, there's this sign that shows that you are not supposed to enter through that route. But everybody passes through that end. And I keep asking why. And it's like, it seems to me that that sign is wrong, but it's there. So if I want to abide by that sign, I wouldn't pass there, but it's there. So like what you said, it's true. We have so many signs.
So as let me draw you back. Yeah. As I said a traffic accident. So that seems to be, there's the engineering part.
That is what I'm talking about now.
The construction of the road. That is the aspect that also causes traffic accidents.
No, but so aren't you supposed to go and arrest the engineer? Well, okay, tell him off now.
The issue is that the police, when we are enforcing rules and regulations, we don't enforce in a vacuum. The issue is that we are enforcing the traffic rules and the regulations according to a certain document, and that is the Road Traffic Act and Road Traffic Regulations. And the regulation doesn't say that we should go ahead and arrest the engineer.
No, I mean, I don't, maybe not arrest, but if, I mean, you are managing the road.
We have collaboration with the Department of Urban Roads, the Ghana Highway Authorities, and most of them that we have alerted, or we alert them as to the various deficiencies on the road. And they normally come and they correct it. But the normal situation is about cash and
resources.
So you mentioned about 6 pedestrians that die on our roads on a daily basis. Now, yes. Well, I'll go 5. I already said 5 for you. But even though it's not your fault, you go to mainland at Abraka, and every pavement is a shop. So the pedestrian has to be on the road with the car. Hence, 5 of them will be knocked down. In that case, in those situations like that, what can you do?
It is a real problem. It is a real issue. The issue is that we should be collaborating with the various assemblies, because the roads are not selling places. It is an offense to sell on the road. But at the end of the day, it comes down to this problem of people not being employed. But certainly that is not an issue. The rules and regulations ought to be enforced, and they ought to be enforced religiously. But certainly they are if you want to enforce traffic rules and regulations, certainly there are some what I would call interventions or interferences here and there. And that is basically demoralizing those who are enforcement officers. And people think that traffic rules and enforcement of traffic rules and regulations are not criminal offenses. They are petty issues that need not to be dealt with. So these are the key problems that we are facing.
Let me take this insert and then we'll come back. Let me take this insert and then we'll come back.
The Director General of Operations at the Ghana Police Service, COP John Kudalo, made clear the police administration will continue to protect lives and properties of Ghanaians.
Our ultimate aim is proactive policing to prevent and deter crime occurrences and arrest the perpetrators if it occurs. Police cannot do this alone without the involvement of the public.
COP Kudalo stated patrols will also be intensified during the period. The police administration will deploy personnel to marketplaces and the central business district to ensure the safety of shoppers. In its efforts to ensure an accident-free Yuletide, the Police Motor Traffic and Transport Department will also undertake patrols on national highways.
Keeping safe before, during, and after Christmas. Let me just run up with it. The mayor is also doing Operation Let the Traffic Flow. Is it in conjunction?
Yes, it's in concert with the police. So yes.
Okay, so it comes under the Christmas.
Yes, it's part of the program. Okay. We are collaborating with them. They are also collaborating with them to make sure that traffic flow within the central business district in Accra here.
See, when you go past the Cocoa Board,
Yes.
I mean, there's a sea of people selling on the pavement. I mean, it's complete. The pavement is full. I mean, what can you do? I mean, these are people who, if they don't sell, they'll go home and die. So what can you do? If you abide by the law, they die.
That is the problems and challenges that we are facing now, whether to go on with the enforcement or not to do that. So it means that as a nation, we must set our priorities very right and make sure that we create the necessary avenues for those who are selling on the streets, create a decent market for them to go there and trade over there. But the routes, albeit, the routes are for vehicles and pedestrians. The routes are not meant. The roads are not selling places.
Sabi, the tomato seller will come, then the Gary seller joins him, then the pepper seller joins him, then the cassava seller joins him, then the okra seller comes, then the tomato seller now goes and bring onions and tomatoes. So now she's got 2 items, and then within 3 years it's an institution.
Yes,
forget about market; it will become an institution. Why don't you move them from the beginning? I feel like Medina Highway.
It has to do with the normal Ghanaian mentality about how we do our things.
You sure it's not the politicians saying, hey, DSP, don't go and move them or my votes. I mean, you can't say this on camera, you can't say that. I'm telling you, the politicians will say, hey, DSP, leave them or these people, they voted for
It's an issue. That is a very critical issue, and I think we should stand firm and make sure that at the end of the day, we clear them from the roots. Because a whole lot of people are dying as a result of their activities. There are some pressures
from above doing things.
Oh, that might not be the situation, but the issue is about the mentality, as I say, it's about indiscipline. It's about lack of respect for rules and regulations.
It's you not doing your job, because you are a policeman. As soon as you see the tomato seller, you either arrest him, move them on, or something. You have to, whatever you do, you have to clear him off there. But the tomato seller doesn't go. The onion seller comes, the Gary seller comes, the okra seller comes, and now become a market, and then they have a union.
And I think it should be a partnership between the police, the law enforcement agency, and the various district and metro.
You don't need a partnership. He's breaking the law, or she's breaking the law. You don't need. I mean, I don't know.
I think, you see, the best thing, like you said, we wait till the thing escalates before we try to solve the problem. We need to start from its root cause. We already have a canker on our heads with some of the markets or some major places where we have this people who are sprung up selling on the road. A typical example is the mall.
We're saying it on the Super Money show.
They started little by little, and they started building structures, and we watch, and it becomes, like you said, an institution before we want to move them, and then they also
the women will take off their tops.
So the little that we can guard, let's guard it well. But we start. There's something to us also realize on the motorway. If you're on the motorway on the side there, people started springing up little. I've been seeing them, and later it becomes a big thing, and they want to move them, then they start making noise. So if the already ones we are unable to deal with it, we are trying to deal with it, why don't we guard the few places left? But you see, they'll keep coming, the tomato seller will come, this person will join in, and then we will look unconcerned, or we'll probably will not look at them or not deal with them. And then when it becomes huge or a canker on our neck, then we find it difficult to move them. So I think that we should look at places where we already don't have those people around. Then we'll guard them jealously once we try to deal with them.
DSP Samuel Sasu, 10 seconds. Give us some reassurance for Christmas. Just some reassurance. 10 seconds.
What I would say is that Christmas is approaching. Your personal safety is at stake. Please, whilst we are driving on the road, don't drink, don't drive. In case you have problems, the police are always around to help you. You can call 191-18-555, and the police will also respond to your calls.
Thank you very much.
And deal with the problem.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I've been talking to Etona Makoda, Corporate Affairs Manager, Bureau of Public Safety, and DSP Samuel Sasu, Mensa Staff Officer to the Director General of MTTD, Ghana Police Services. My name is Nana Ansakwa. And thanks for watching. As I say, tomorrow we'll be back to do it all over again.